Do you sometimes get the feeling that you got held back by your gear? I will show you why your SP-404 MKII maybe sound a little bit sluggish and how to fix it for free. These topics will be covered. What is the problem, measuring the impact, and how to fix it. What do I mean by sluggish? There's always a latency after pressing a pad. The device has to compute stuff, and the digital analog converter needs some time to send out the signal. This is a stable delay, and you as a musician can and will adapt to it if the delay is reasonable. The question is, what's a reasonable latency? Important is the distance between the pads and your ears. It is typically something between 1 and 2 feet or 3 feet if you're a big dude. The sound needs around 1 millisecond to travel 1 feet, so your brain expects to hear the pad within 1 to 3 milliseconds. If the delay gets longer, confusion will start to hit. Most people can tolerate a latency under 20 milliseconds. If you play a percussive instrument, this will go down to 10 milliseconds. So let us measure the impact. In order to measure the latency of the SP-404, I recorded the pad noise with a mic in parallel to the output of the device into Logic. Since both audio signals use the same audio setup of the computer, any impact of the computer itself will be cancelled out. Looking to the wave files, we can clearly see the delay between the mic signal and the audio out of the SP-404. Counting samples would give us the answer. But to make it easier to see, I am using a precision delay in order to move the mic signal in sync to the output signal. Without any MIDI compensation, we see that the SP-404 has a latency by design of around about 11 milliseconds. The subjective latency is 1 to 3 milliseconds smaller, since wearing headphones will trick our brain. The headphone signal does not travel 3 feet, so it seems to be faster. As a result, we feel something like 8 milliseconds of latency. That is acceptable, since that is round about the latency most people would not feel anyway. The latency is based on the time of the processing and the conversion combined. If you check your device, you will probably see a higher latency, and this is by design. The SP-404 MKII can control external gear connected by MIDI. MIDI is a 40-year-old protocol which induces a latency of round about a millisecond per node or information. In order to get your setup tight, the SP-404 allows us to adjust a MIDI latency so that the external device is 100% in sync to your SP-404. But if we have no external devices connected, this feature is useless and increases the overall latency. With MIDI compensation activated, we can clearly see that the response to a pad action is delayed. In this example, roughly 2 milliseconds by a 2 millisecond compensation setting. Not a big impact, but each latency will add up. And here's how to fix that. Go to the settings by pressing Shift and pad 30. Use Ctrl 8, the upper right knob, to navigate to the MIDI pane with the push encoder. Navigate to the MIDI delay position. By default, it is 2 milliseconds. If you used it in the past, this value can be higher. Change the value to 0. Press exit until you are back. Now the SP-404 will not compensate for external devices and react faster to your inputs. I hope this will help you to get your beats a little bit more spot on.